Hi everybody, it's Christine, and I am super excited to be live today. I'm hoping that my internet connection is good here. If not, I'll move and we'll go with the flow a little bit. Hello, and today I'm so excited to be talking about back to school. We're going back to school next week. In fact, what's today? Wednesday? In about a little bit over a week, we will be back in action, but I know there's some people, hi Deb. I know there's going to be some people that are already back in school and at it. So I'm a little bit behind the ball maybe, but I want to hopefully prepare and inspire you guys to think about school lunches. It's back to school time, so it's time for school lunches. Now, I know this is kind of a great debate between yourself, actually, a lot of times. It's this inner struggle between packing 3 lunches or 4 lunches or 5 lunches, depending how many kids you have, and just letting them eat lunch at school. Now, I say this and I preface, anything that I say is not about shaming. It's not about saying you're a bad mom. If they eat lunch at school, it's not about that. It's really just about creating knowledge for you guys and educating you and hopefully empowering you with tools and ideas that give you the sense that I can do it. I can, and my kids, we could all do this together and make this a priority in your life, okay? So, I just know the power of real foods, and I'm telling you right now, the stuff they're serving at school is borderline most of the time. So, I have my outline in front of me, guys, because I want to make sure that I keep on track for you, all right? So, most of you hopefully know me, but those of you who do not, I'm Christine Lease, and I am a certified holistic wellness coach and a real food educator. And I want to say a side note. A lot of people wonder, what does holistic mean? Why can't you just say you're a health coach? Well, to be really honest, the reason I chose to go the holistic path is, even though I'm a food educator and I do believe the power of real food and the power of that, but holistic is looking at your whole life, whether maybe you're just wanting to feel better, lose weight, make better choices, all these different things. There's things and goals we have within our health that we have. And as much as I love that as much as I love food and I know the power of changing the kinds of food that you eat, but if you're not looking at your whole life and dealing with some other areas, that's the holistic aspect, you're really probably going to still struggle with all the avenues that and all the goals that you have, your health goals. So that's one of the reasons I picked holistic, because that's what it means. It just means your whole life, your whole person, your relationships, your spiritual life, your career, your friendships, your marriage, stuff with your kids, your community, where are you at in your community? All those things play a part. So I just wanted to clarify that. A lot of people wonder, what is holistic? So anyway, that's me, and like I said, you guys, I'm really not here to shame. I'm here to hopefully inspire you and make you realize I'm just a mom. I really am, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but if I can do this, and I can get my kids to take their lunches almost every single day, I know you can too, okay? So today, though, we're going to talk about tools, all right? We are not going to dive into what we're going to put in lunches today. This is part 1. And so one of the reasons I want to talk about school lunches in general, all right, and why you should be avoiding school lunches kind of at all costs. I have a deal with my kids, especially my younger one. I have 3 children, and he does have certain days he likes to eat at school. Why, I don't know, but he does. And same with my older daughter. My middle daughter is totally cool with taking her lunch every single day. So I listen to my kids and I'm trying to teach them, but I'm not going to fight a huge battle if there's days that they choose. We look at the menu and we make those decisions together, okay? So I'm going to preface that by saying I don't want, I want you guys to work with your kids, because if you have picky eaters and they love school lunches, this transition to making your lunches could be, a little bit of a struggle, and we don't want that. We want this to be a streamlined thing. So why should you avoid school lunches? Well, really, you guys, you don't really have to look at very many menus to figure that out, all right? Now, I will preface this also by saying you got elementary, middle school, high school. High school, they do a better job. They have more variety. They've got salad bars. They've got cold cut sandwiches. They have better choices for these teenagers. It's not all just one choice, like the elementary. So I'm kind of, when I talk about some of the school lunches, specifically, it's going to be elementary because they are limited to what is served. And I'm telling you, most of the time, the protein that is on there is a fried food of some sort. It's a pizza, it's a chicken finger, it's a nacho fish stick. That's kind of a funny little thing in our school system. It's just not good for them. It's processed food that has been heated up, opened up, and put on a plate. Now, I know that they do have some fresh vegetable choices on there. Awesome. It's not like it's all bad, but the main core staple protein or pasta or whatever that's on there is not real food. It's not. It is from heated up. It's not even really cooked, you guys. It's most of the time it's just heated up. And that's even true in some of the upper and middle school and high school as well, okay? Whether it's a hamburger that's not even really meat, probably. I mean, I could go on and on. It's poor quality foods. End of story, okay? My other problem with it is, with the reason we avoid school lunches, is the size of the lunches. They're smaller portions, and I have eaters. I have athletes. They need to eat and be fed well. And so lots of times they come home and they're just starving if they've had, back in the day, which now they eat home lunches more, but they would just be starving because they just didn't have time to eat is one. That's a whole nother thing. But the portion sizes are just small, okay? And that's just the reality of which we live in. And I've already talked about the fact that, it's just the heat up and dump and open and dump. It's a lot of boxed, frozen, canned foods that were frozen and maybe reheated or whatever. So enough on, you guys get my drift. I think all of you know that the quality of school lunches really are not that great, okay? So the positives to packing your lunches. Now, I know a lot of people get very overwhelmed by it. If you're not really doing it on a consistent basis, it can seem very overwhelming. And I'm telling you, by the end of school, I am kind of like, I am so done. Can we be done? But there's so many positives to it, and it allows your kids to have just so many wonderful choices. So what are the positives? Number one is you're going to save so much money. It's ridiculous because lots of times what I do, and I'm going to talk about this in part 2, is I reheat leftovers. So I've already made it. I'm just reheating it and putting it in their lunches, and they take it along their way. So you guys know you're going to save money. You have portion control for your kids. Like I said, I have athletes. I've got a daughter in middle school that goes, and she has to have a snack after school. She's got to have a really great lunch because she's running cross country. Then she goes to soccer, and even, some other stuff in between. And they need to be fed and fed well. And I want to make sure they have plenty to eat. And sometimes they bring home extra, and that's okay if they do, but I want to make sure they have plenty to eat. Variety. This allows you to be able to put a variety within the lunch pail, whether you make sure they have a protein, some vegetables, some dairy, if your family eats dairy. It allows you to just really create balance, and let the kids choose the things that they like as well. If you know they really love carrots and celery, awesome. You put some carrots and celery in there, or cucumbers, a little bit of a fun dip, and you're good to go. So again, those are some ideas, but we're going to talk more about that in part 2. All right. And to be really honest, if you have a child, you're wondering, like, are they really even eating? Because I've heard stories, you guys, of teachers that pulled parents aside and said, they really don't eat anything. And I've sat in, you guys have all probably done this, and sat in on lunches at the elementary school, and you're just shocked at how they don't eat. They don't eat it. They dump half the food in the trash bin, which is so sad. So this actually allows you to be able to see what they are eating and how well they're eating, so that is their brain getting nourished? What do we need to switch around? What can we pack that's going to work better? Because they need food for nutrients, okay? And feeding them what they need to eat too, which I've kind of already touched on this. If you have kids that are athletes and they're active, they need high, good quality, nutrient dense foods. Okay? All right, so what's part one? What am I going to be sharing with you guys to set you up to have real food success? Well, I'm going to talk about the tools you need to make this happen. And with a week out from school, you could go and get the stuff right now, all right? And be ready to go and pack your lunches. Now, hi, Angie. I know Angie made a really big commitment, my friend Angie, at the end of the school year last year after we had talked a little bit more. And she really did make a commitment to doing school packing her lunches. And I think it went really well. And so I'm hoping Angie continues that this year as well. So, all right. What do I use? All right. Well, number one, I have two different lunch boxes. All right. We have a lunch box that they use for if they're taking hot foods in their thermoses, and then I have a lunch box that's cold. Yes, it did, Angie. And I love these lunch boxes because I hated always. I always seem to lose the ice. Oh, what do you call them? I can't even think. The cool packs that you put in the lunch boxes. I always lose them, or the kids lose them, or whatever. These are the bomb.com, okay? These are already frozen lunch boxes, you guys. This is how big they are. Sorry, I'm going to sit back. You can see, all right, inside. And they're frozen. You put them back in the freezer, and they freeze overnight, and they are awesome. I got these 2 years ago, I want to say, at like a Hallmark store. I mean, of all the places to find it. But they are all over the place now. And this particular brand is called Packet, and we have a different color for each of the kids. And it's so great. It's so great. Love these. So throw them in, froze, cold. You can fit a lot of stuff in these too. If not, make sure you've got your cold as well. I always have two, and we had extra on hand. I don't want you to go spend a ton of money, but it is nice to have two options. Plus, if they forget that at school, you always have a backup. You always want to have a backup. And maybe even a backup to your backup, maybe, if you have kids that forget their lunches at school. Okay, number two is thermoses. I am very passionate, and those who know me get a thermos and start putting some stuff in this. And people are like, well, what do you put in it? Oh, goodness. I mean, I do all leftovers. In fact, I particularly like the Thermos brand. I highly recommend getting Thermos brand. And it just will say, in fact, this is worn out. It's just Thermos brand. And my daughter, in fact, last year she kept saying, Mom, don't cook it so hot. Don't get it heated up so hot because it's too hot to eat. And that was 4 hours later she was eating this. So it does keep it very, very warm. And again, I'm going to talk more about what we're going to put in these, but I love Thermos brands. And I need to actually go get a couple more because this one's a little bit smaller. They do have smaller ones. So if you have a kid that doesn't eat as much, you can do smaller ones too. And they have ones with Star Wars on it and everything. Love these. Love these. Oh, got to go out and get these. So you can put lots of leftovers, reheated stuff in those. Now, you guys know I try and be as green as possible. I don't like to use plastic bags as often as possible. And thank you, Angie, for that tip. I love that. You can put lots of things in those. So reusable bags. Now this is where you're going to want to put, maybe you want to send some tortilla chips or some popcorn for a snack, or they can have popcorn with their lunch, veggies, whatever. These are really, really great. This is actually a Norwex brand. They're gone now. They discontinued these, but I have some. But you can get them at a lot of different places. Target has them, just reusable, and you just wipe them out and clean them out every day. I highly recommend that instead of having to throw away the Ziplocs all the time. We want to be good stewards of our wonderful world and try and do reusable stuff. And that leads me to my other thing is reusable boxes. Now you can see this is a Tupperware brand. I know there's a ton of different brands out there. I just happened to be invited to a Tupperware party. I didn't even know they still had Tupperware parties, but they do. And I got this set of 4. It came in a set of 4. And they are BPA free. They're safer plastic. I never heat them up, so I feel somewhat comfortable with that. I don't really want to send glass to school with my kids, but what I do like about this, you guys, is you can, it fits my kids' sizes of sandwiches. If I do sandwiches, I can fit 2 of our chicken legs, because sometimes I'll do whole chicken legs. I could fit a lot in here, vegetables, whatever, and then just shut it. I'll even put apples and peanut butter and it'll like smear together, and that's okay. Love these. These are the tools that I use for my family. I have big people and big eaters. And I know there's some wonderful other types of boxes out there, and I've heard of many people. In fact, Kayla Crane is on live, and she, I know, uses like the bento boxes or some of those smaller boxes that are compartmentalized. I don't have any of those anymore. They just were not big enough for my kids, and so I just kind of gave up on those, and we do individual stuff now because they need more to eat. But for you guys that have maybe lighter eaters or you have younger kids, what those are, they're just like compartmented. They're boxes that are probably about like this big, and then they have compartments to them, so that, and then you put a lid on it, and it kind of keeps it sealed. So you can even put like yogurt or ranch dip or stuff like that in there. And it keeps it nice and tight and safe, and it doesn't slosh around everywhere. The biggest recommendation, if you were looking at those, there's bento boxes is one, eco boxes, and planet box. Those are the three that I've seen, and they have stainless steel options for those as well. But I want to tell you, they are not cheap. So if you have a child that tends to lose things, and it happens, or if you lose things, you're going to be out a little bit of money. So it is an investment, but if you feel like your kids can have that responsibility, I think it's great, thumbs up, and if it's big enough for your kids to be able to eat. The only reason we didn't choose it, again, is because I have big eaters, okay? So like I talked about, those are my tips, you guys, for that, is those section containers as well. Those are really, really great. So what are you going to send in your lunch? Now, that's going to be part 2, and that's going to be coming up next week, and right before school. I'm going to probably do it on Monday because I want to make sure that you guys have some time for those. Again, everybody starts at different times, but I know that the people around me in my Des Moines and the Midwest are starting this week, and we're going to get some good ideas going on what to put in your lunches. Okay, so now, what's next? What do you do? Well, hopefully you guys have been inspired or rejuvenated or just feel this, like, I'm going to do this, and you will start making your school lunches for your kids or have them help. I've already talked to my 2 older ones, and I'm like, you guys are going to have to start stepping up here and contributing, and they will. They're really good about it. But it's really, really not that hard, and we're going to go, again, into that a little bit more next week. And so tune into this. Again, it'll either be Monday or Tuesday that I do it. And this is, guys, another thing is that if this is just a small part of what I love to do and share, is the Facebook Live stuff. I love it. But, I also have my website, and I also have a newsletter that goes out every month that is always dedicated. And I know my newsletter in September will talk a lot about kids and how to get them to eat, and talk about school lunches and some recipes and tips and tricks with that. So I really hope that you guys are part of my group and part of my Real Food Diaries. That goes out every single month. And I've got some more really exciting stuff coming up, cooking classes and all that kind of stuff. It's so fun, and I want to make sure that you guys are the first to hear about it. So be sure and go there. This month, if you head over to my website, right now I have a free Costco shopping guide, but I'm going to have a new little freebie coming up for my next live video that we'll be able to offer. So that's going to be super duper fun. And end of this day, guys, what I would love is if you have gotten something from this, and you know there's people out there that need to be inspired to start thinking about doing school lunches from home. Share this. That's, when you find something out and you find it valuable, and I hope you have found it valuable, that you will share this with your community. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. I really do. And the community of people that are on here, I just absolutely love it. And I am very much looking forward to next week when I start talking about the actual food part, because the food part is the fun part, right? Fun. It really is, I promise. We're going to make this easy and doable and get your guys' mind thinking about ways that you can help your family be a real food family. All right? You guys have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you next week for part 2 of School Lunches.